The team at Technology for Hotels knows how busy you are, so we've created this concise briefing to keep you up to date on key happenings in the hotel industry. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the 5-Star Weekly Briefing, your pulse on the hospitality industry.
This week's briefing is brought to you by HITEC, the global leader in hospitality telecommunications, providing elegant, antibacterial guest room phones designed for the modern hotel environment.
Today is Friday, 26 June 2026, and I want you to imagine for a second picking up the phone to negotiate a massive corporate travel contract, only to realize the person on the other end is actually a machine.
Oh, wow.
Right. It's an algorithm that has already audited your property's dynamic pricing in milliseconds, cross-referenced it with their travel policy, and knows exactly where your bottom line is.
That is slightly terrifying.
Yeah, it is. But that is the reality we are diving into today. Because we are tracking this incredible dual wave across the industry right now. On one side, you have massive physical property expansion, and right alongside it, this digital restructuring that is just completely rewriting how those properties are run.
Yeah, and it's a really fascinating tension to watch because those two avenues, physical scale and digital intelligence, they are intrinsically linked. But I think let's start by looking at that pure physical footprint first.
Good idea.
Because we have some major players hitting some really significant milestones this week. For example, Choice Hotels International has officially opened its 100th branded property in Japan.
Wow, 100.
Yeah, it's the Comfort Hotel Chidos, which is a 142-room property. And getting to 100 properties in a market as nuanced and honestly as fiercely competitive as Japan, that is no small feat.
No, definitely not.
It speaks volumes about the long-term alignment between Choice Hotels Asia Pac, which is led by CEO Trent Frazier, and Choice Hotels Japan under CEO Takeki Ito.
Absolutely. And, you see a similar, frankly, staggering momentum over at Accor right now, specifically with their boutique independent portfolio, the Handwritten Collection.
Oh, yeah. The Handwritten Collection is moving fast.
Extremely fast. They just reached a global milestone of 50 operating properties across 20 countries. And what is wild about that number is that they've achieved it just 3 years post-launch.
3 years. So wait, launching 50 properties in 36 months, that means they're cutting a ribbon on a new boutique hotel roughly every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks, exactly. Yeah. And they aren't slowing down either. Jean-Yves Minet, who is Accor's global brand president for mid-scale and economy, already has another 50 properties in the pipeline for active development worldwide.
Okay, I do want to push back on those numbers for just a second, though.
Go for it.
Because it is so easy to hear 100 properties in Japan or 50 properties in 3 years and just assume this is an endless boom of ground-up construction. And it is absolutely not.
Right.
If you look closely at how these brands are scaling at that breakneck pace, they are heavily leaning into conversions rather than new builds. And there is a very clear operational why behind that.
Well, the macroeconomic headwinds, right?
Exactly. I mean, we are operating in an environment where ground-up construction is just phenomenally expensive. Yeah. You have lingering supply chain bottlenecks, incredibly elevated material costs, severe labor shortages.
High interest rates.
Yes, high interest rates. Conversions just completely mitigate those massive capital expenditures. You're taking an existing footprint, stripping it down, and injecting a new brand standard. And crucially, it allows for a significantly faster speed to market.
Yeah, you aren't waiting 2 years for concrete to dry. You are turning a property around in months.
Spot on.
Which is why it's such a critical distinction for the industry right now. It's not just about building more, it's about strategically repositioning what already exists. You actually see this exact strategy playing out with Radisson Hotel Group. They've just detailed a highly aggressive, very flexible expansion blueprint specifically for the Australasian and Pacific markets. And the engine driving this growth isn't standard development. They're specifically utilizing their Radisson R&D brand and their conversion-friendly Radisson Individuals brand.
Which makes perfect sense for this region.
Exactly. Lachlan Hoswell, their managing director for Australasia, is driving this alongside directors of development Victor Kondurios and Danilo Kirkarudo. They clearly understand that to scale quickly here, you need a brand architecture that adapts to existing physical assets.
And to bring that down to a hyperlocal, really tangible level, just look at what was announced here in Victoria. Accor and owner-operator ERDI are teaming up for a major transformation project.
Oh, the St. Kilda project.
Yes, they're taking the St. Kilda Beach Hotel and entirely converting it into the Novotel St. Kilda, which is slated to debut in October 2026. This is that conversion strategy in perfect action. You have Accor Pacific COO, Adrian Williams, collaborating with the ERDI CEO, Ricky Jeffs, and they've brought in the interior design firm Versa, headed by Rebecca Trennerton, to reimagine the space. I mean, they aren't pouring a new foundation. They are breathing a new, elevated brand standard into an existing asset.
It is incredibly smart business. However, and I think we should clarify this, ground-up development certainly isn't dead.
No, definitely not.
Especially when you move into that ultra-premium boutique luxury space. In that tier, the bespoke physical architecture is, it's a core part of the brand identity itself.
That's very true.
Case in point, boutique hospitality group Raes has officially launched the Bonobo by Raes up in Byron Bay. This is a premium 3-level development. It's got 74 luxury hotel rooms and residences, an all-day lobby lounge, a rooftop pool, dedicated wellness spaces. Yeah, it's a completely different play than a conversion. Managing director Jordi Catalano and group general manager Marty McCaig spearheaded this, and they brought in heavyweight design talent architecture by Richards and Spence and interiors by Studio Manifold. It just proves that when the market is premium enough, the capital for bespoke development is absolutely still there.
It definitely highlights how bifurcated the development landscape is right now.
Right.
You either scale rapidly through smart, capital-efficient conversions, or you go entirely bespoke at the absolute luxury end.
Exactly.
Now, all these leaders, whether they're converting mid-scale properties or building these luxury resorts, they're eventually going to be forced to address the elephant in the room.
How to actually fill the room.
Yes. How do they plan to fill these newly minted rooms? And navigating that requires getting in a room together and strategizing. And
that is exactly where the industry is heading. The Hilton Sydney has just been announced as the official host venue for the 2nd annual Sydney Hotel Summit by AHICE, and that's taking place on July 31st, 2026.
That's going to be a big one.
It's massive. It's orchestrated by HM and Wayfarer magazines. And when you look at the principal partners, Hilton, RateGain, Accor, Marriott International, EVT, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and Trilogy Hotels, you realize this is essentially a strategic war room.
Yeah, a meeting of the minds.
This is where the regional ecosystem comes together to hammer out how to manage all this vast physical expansion.
And while that critical regional focus is happening at the Sydney Hotel Summit, the global technology conversation just took place at HITEC 2026 over in San Antonio.
Right, the world's largest hospitality technology event.
Exactly, drawing over 6,100 professionals and 400 exhibitors. Brendan Granger from Technology for Hotels was on the ground there, and his overwhelming takeaway was that artificial intelligence has officially transitioned.
Meaning it's past the hype phase?
Yes. It is no longer a theoretical trend on a keynote stage. It is a hard operational reality dictating how hotels make money.
Which brings us right back to that striking scenario I mentioned at the start of the briefing, the algorithm negotiating the contract.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Because right alongside HITEC, a massive global study dropped from the Global Business Travel Association, or GBTA, in partnership with Radisson Hotel Group. They analyzed the corporate lodging market, which is a $461 billion annual sector.
Wow, $461 billion.
Yeah, it's huge. And spearheaded by GBTA CEO Suzanne Newfang and Radisson's global senior VP commercial, Gianni DeFede, the study revealed a seismic shift in corporate procurement. Corporate travel managers are rapidly abandoning static rates. They are leaning into dynamic pricing structures powered by this unprecedented surge in AI-driven procurement tools.
Okay, so if you are a general manager sitting in your office right now, looking at this $461 billion corporate sector,
right,
what does this actually mean for you on the ground? How does a hotel respond when the buyer is an algorithm?
It means the era of the static spreadsheet is officially over.
Right.
Traditionally, hotels relied on static corporate rates. You negotiate a rate once a year with a corporate partner, you load it into your property management system, and you just forget about it.
Set it and forget it.
Exactly. But if corporate travel managers are now utilizing sophisticated AI procurement tools, those tools are aggressively sourcing and auditing dynamic pricing across the market in milliseconds. They scrape the GDS, they scrape the OTAs, they check your direct site, and they instantly identify the absolute best rate that fits their corporate policy.
So if your hotel brings a static spreadsheet to that kind of machine-to-machine negotiation, you are essentially bringing a knife to a gunfight.
You really are.
As a GM, you must have the back-end tech stack specifically integrated revenue management systems to respond dynamically and intelligently. Because if your pricing isn't floating based on real-time market supply and demand, the buyer's algorithm will simply bypass you for a competitor who is priced dynamically.
Yep.
You will bleed corporate market share without even realizing why.
It completely rewires the commercial battlefield. And crucially, this shift toward machine-driven interaction isn't just happening in corporate procurement. It is completely transforming the leisure guest discovery phase as well.
Oh, this is the AEO shift.
Yes. Let's move into what is arguably the most critical structural shift we are tracking: generative AI and Answer Engine Optimization, or AEO. The data shows that roughly 40% of travelers are now pivoting away from traditional search links, your standard Google search results, and moving toward conversational AI tools like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google's Gemini to get highly curated accommodation shortlists.
Wait, I have to pause you there. 40% is a massive behavioral shift for just a few years. Are we genuinely saying legacy search engine optimization SEO is dead?
It's not dead, but its function is fundamentally changing. Think of it this way. Traditional SEO is like handing a guest a giant, incredibly detailed map of the city and making them plot their own route.
Okay.
They type in a query, they get 10 blue links, they have to click the sites, read the amenities, and do the heavy lifting of synthesizing all that information. Answer Engine Optimization, AEO, is like handing them a highly knowledgeable, dedicated local concierge.
Ah, I like that.
Right. The traveler types: I need a boutique hotel in Sydney for under $400 a night with a rooftop pool and vegan dining options. The AI concierge instantly curates the perfect personalized answer. It does the work for them.
Right, but for that AI concierge to actually recommend your hotel, it has to know those details exist. So if AEO is the concierge, our data schemas and our APIs are essentially the cheat sheet we slip into the concierge's pocket so they recommend our property over the guy across the street.
That is exactly it. And for those who might not live in the engineering department, an API, an application programming interface, is basically a digital waiter.
A digital waiter, okay.
It takes the menu of your hotel's available rooms, your real-time pricing, and specific amenities, and hands it directly to the AI's kitchen. If you don't have that digital waiter, the AI model simply doesn't know you serve food.
That makes so much sense.
AI models do not care about your clever marketing copy or how beautiful your website's hero image is. They care about structured data, clear APIs, and categorized amenities that an algorithm can parse in a fraction of a second.
And we are already seeing the brutal fallout of who understands this and who doesn't. 5W Research just published their Airlines and Hotels AI Visibility Index for 2026. They benchmarked how frequently 50 leading travel brands are cited across major generative AI platforms.
And what did they find?
The results show an extreme concentration of power. The top 3 brands are capturing over 70% of the citation share in several categories.
Wow.
Yeah, the dominant players are Marriott, securing roughly a 10% citation share, and Hilton at about 8.5%. Because they have aggressively structured their data to feed these exact algorithms, they're essentially eating up all the visibility.
But it is not just the global behemoths making these moves. We are seeing incredible first-mover advantage right here locally.
Oh, EVT, right?
Exactly. EVT has just expanded its digital evolution by launching the new EVT Hotels and Resorts app directly within ChatGPT.
That is huge.
It is. Spearheaded by Andrew Turner, EVT's Director of Technology and Digital, this makes EVT the very first hotel group in the Australia and New Zealand region to debut on the platform. A guest doesn't have to go to a search engine anymore. They can explore properties, check amenities, and initiate their entire booking journey through a natural, AI-powered conversation right inside ChatGPT. EVT is going straight to where the traveler is already having the conversation.
That is brilliant positioning by EVT. However, I do think we need to inject a dose of operational reality here.
Sure, let's ground it.
Because it's easy to get swept up in the AI hype. But a new white paper by Avon Hospitality and Skist highlights a very stark gap in the broader industry. The research, which features insights from Avon's Chief Transformation Officer Mark Holyhead, shows that while 80% of hotel chains are using what we would call basic AI, think simple FAQ chatbots or automated pre-arrival emails, only 11% have successfully deployed advanced agentic AI.
And we should clarify that term for our listeners. Agentic AI is an AI capable of autonomous action. It doesn't just answer a question, it takes agency. It handles real-time bookings, adjusts dynamic pricing on the fly, or orchestrates complex loyalty rewards across systems without a human ever having to click approve. The white paper highlights early enterprise movers like Langham Hospitality Group, who are pushing into this territory. But for the vast majority of the industry, there is a massive chasm between the keynote hype of AI and actual back-end deployment.
Digital transformation coach, or Morch frames this challenge perfectly. He argues that the core problem for hospitality in 2026 isn't the lack of data. I mean, we've too much data.
All right, way too much.
It is a signal interpretation problem. General managers are sitting in their offices completely overwhelmed. They have a revenue management dashboard on one screen, a property management system on another, guest feedback scores pinging their phone, and a maintenance queue piling up.
Yeah.
It's just disjointed noise.
Yeah.
What is missing is an intelligence layer, a system that interprets all those fragmented signals and drives daily proactive operational decisions.
And that is exactly where the vendor ecosystem is stepping up to bridge the gap. Look at the strategic tech integration just launched by Saba Hospitality, the cloud-based guest engagement vendor, and HubOS, the hotel operations management platform. Alexander Wessels, Chief Product Officer at Saba, and Rob Bell, Director of Sales and Operations APAC at HubOS, have driven this platform-to-platform alignment.
And this integration is the perfect example of solving that signal interpretation problem. It automates the data handshake between frontline guest requests and back-of-house operations.
So no more sticky notes.
Exactly. Instead of a guest messaging an AI chatbot for extra towels, the bot messaging the front desk writing it on a sticky note, and eventually radioing housekeeping. This intelligence layer routes the request instantly and autonomously to the exact PDA of the housekeeper on that specific floor.
That's brilliant.
It bypasses the front desk queue entirely. It provides the missing intelligence layer so the GM and their staff don't have to play traffic cop.
It connects the digital experience directly to the physical operation, completely seamlessly. Now, having unpacked all of this, the aggressive physical property scaling, the shift in corporate procurement algorithms, and the complex restructuring of our back-end tech stacks, we have to recognize that none of this happens in a vacuum.
Absolutely not.
Technology is utterly useless without exceptional human leadership to implement and guide it.
Spot on. You need leaders who actually understand how to keep the lights on and the systems talking to each other while expanding the footprint. That's why you see someone like Bill Dwan stepping into his new role as Director of Engineering at the Intercontinental Hotel Taiwan in China. We just spent 15 minutes talking about the nightmare of integrating disparate tech stacks. That is exactly the kind of engineering leadership that is going to be tested on the ground tomorrow.
Similarly, you need leaders who understand how to run that intelligence layer to drive profitability, which is why it's notable to see Rob Maynard returning to 1834 Hotels, stepping into the crucial role of Director of Operations and Asset Performance. And over at Trilogy Hotels, Benjamin Nesbitt has officially commenced his new role as Director of Operations as of July 1st. These are the people tasked with making sure the algorithms actually translate into operational efficiency.
And as we talk about standardizing and automating all these processes, we can't forget the leaders tasked with creating the experiences that algorithms simply cannot replicate. In Japan, Oscar Abel Bonthuyas has been appointed as the new Director of Food and Beverage at the Four Seasons Hotel Osaka, a role that is entirely focused on sensory, human experience.
We are also seeing major leadership movements in high-growth regions to manage this exact scale we've been tracking. Within the Marriott International portfolio, Sandra Louisian has taken on a massive new position as Market Vice President for Vietnam.
Down in Southeast Asia, Conrada Kuala Lumpur has appointed seasoned luxury hotelier Paola Caccioli as its general manager. She will be leading the charge ahead of the brand's highly anticipated Southeast Asia flagship debut later this year.
And looking locally here, John Bristow has taken the helm as the newly appointed general manager of Amora Brisbane. We wish all of them massive success as they take on these complex leadership mandates.
It really is a testament to the sheer caliber of talent steering this industry through such a transformative period. You know, before we wrap up, I want you to chew on this. We spent this entire briefing talking about optimizing for algorithms, structuring our data so machines can read it, using AI to audit corporate rates, deploying agentic AI to handle back-end operations.
A race to perfectly feed the machines.
Exactly. And as global giants like Marriott and Hilton eat up 70% of AI visibility by doing exactly that, what happens to the independent boutique hotels? Will their ultimate survival rely on aggressively marketing their imperfections? The unscripted, highly localized, deeply human quirks that an AI concierge would filter out as inefficient. Because when seamless, invisible, hyper-intelligent technology is no longer a competitive advantage, but simply the baseline expectation in every single property, A little bit of genuine human friction might just become the ultimate luxury.
That is a phenomenal thought to leave on. That wraps up this week's 5-Star Weekly Briefing. Thanks for tuning in and staying informed with the latest in the hotel industry.
Don't forget to check out our 5-Star Conversations podcast, where Brendan Granger from Technology for Hotels sits down with the industry's most influential leaders to uncover their journeys, insights, and the future of hospitality. It's a must-listen for anyone passionate about elevating their guest experience and driving innovation in the hotel world.
Until next time, stay well and stay ahead. See you next week.